Alright guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness, and welcome to my review of Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. This was released in 1990. It is starring Kate Hodge, Ken Foree, and Viggo Mortensen, and was directed by Jeff Burr. So, typically on the channel I like, it's my style to post pretty long reviews, going on the 35, 40, 45 minute mark, somewhere around there. And that's mostly because I want to say everything I have to say about that movie, and I like talking. So there you go. And people like listening to me, so it works out. That being said, I don't know if we're going to reach that marker today, man, because I don't have a lot to say about this movie. I'm not just going to rush through it. I'm going to talk about everything I want to talk about, but there's not a lot going for this one, is there? This is a pretty bland fucking movie, man, I gotta say. And that's a shame. I remember watching this in middle school, I'm pretty sure, for the first time. It was a shitty transfer on YouTube that was for free. Back in those days, you kind of had a little more of the... It wasn't there as much anymore, but you still had a little bit of Wild West to YouTube. And now it's just not that at all anymore for the most part. But yeah, man, I was really, really looking forward to going back and rewatching this one, because I remember watching it for the first time and being like, okay. But I'm a lot older now. My views on film have changed somewhat. So I was curious to see what I thought. Man, this fucking movie fucking blows, man. And I hate saying that, and really I shouldn't, because I don't think there's anything about this movie that's just irredeemably awful or anything like that. Nothing's great. There's nothing I would write home about. I don't see any reason to ever revisit this movie again. It's just kind of... It's just kind of there, There's really nothing remarkable about it. And, to me, I've said this on the channel before, but I have my problems with Texas Chainsaw 2. We've talked about that movie already. It's a fucking cartoon of a movie. It's outrageous. It's crazy. But it's entertaining. Jason Goes to Hell, for my longtime viewers, when I reviewed the Friday the 13th movies. That movie is fucking batshit insane, but it's entertaining. I would much rather a movie be just absolutely off the fucking wall, crazy, maybe even stupid, than have something that's just kind of there. And that's what this movie is. So if you're asking me if I prefer 2 or 3, it's 2 all day. Another thing about this movie that kind of turns me off to it is the fact that, I've already talked about the canon or the canonical timeline of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise and how it's just completely fucking all over the place. And that starts right here, because in part 2, Leatherface fucking died. Like, he died. He got a chainsaw through the gut by good old Lefty, and he he fucking blew up. So he's just back, they're like, well, fuck it. And I have a feeling they were kind of wanting to wash their hands of part 2, and I understand that. But it's weird, because they pretty much all but accomplished their goal in that. Leatherface is back. We have brand new Sawyers, which I'll get into them in a second. And, it's definitely washing its hands of 2. Problem is, and another thing that would loan itself to that is the fact that in the opening crawl, which has been a thing for all 3 movies so far, is that they basically establish, no, not basically, they straight up say, like, yeah, Drayton Sawyer was captured after the first movie and died by gas chamber. So he's dead. So part 2 is just done. So why even bother calling this part 3? And, people go, oh, you're nitpicking, it's a title, whatever. Sure. But, people bitch about, Halloween 2018 being called Halloween. And, yeah, I have my problems with that as well. But at least that one's not saying, like, oh, it's Halloween 10 or whatever the fuck that movie is. as far as the actual full series is concerned. But this one is like, it's basically trying to be a reboot, but it's still trying to maintain that, that linear. I don't know. It's fucking weird, and that kind of tells the story of the whole movie. It's just weird. Like positives. Think positives. For instance, we'll talk about the new Sawyer family, which overall I think is the strongest part of the movie character-wise. Leatherface is cool. I think they do a decent job with Leatherface. He's definitely not a full-blown cartoon character like he was in the second movie. He's taken a little more serious here. I don't think he's anywhere bit as scary as the first one. I don't think that'll ever happen, at least with these early movies. But there's just, there's something, not dogging the actor, because there's a new actor behind the skin mask this time around. Not dogging him. Think he does fine. There's nothing about this movie there's nothing about that portrayal that really offends me. But again, like the other stuff in this movie, it's just unremarkable. There's just really not a lot to say about it. It's just a guy playing Leatherface. Yeah, it's nothing really stands out about him. But the new Sawyers, we get the mom, who I think is cool. She's just wheeling around in a wheelchair. I know people will say, like, oh, well, where were they during the first one? Don't think about it, because you're not supposed to think about it, because they just clearly didn't give a fuck about that when making this film. But I do think, the mom is a fun character for how much we get her in the movie. Talking through a stoma, which is, a good detail, because you have that really eerie, mechanical voice to her, which I think lends itself well to the disturbing factor of that character. Viggo Mortensen, who plays Tex, I really liked him. I would honestly say he's probably my favorite character in this whole movie, which it's not saying a whole lot, but I do think he does a really good job here with what he's given. He kind of has, which has become a common thing in these Texas Chainsaw movies, about having that character that all of a sudden turns and he's part of the Sawyers and you didn't know it. That's something we'll see throughout some of these movies that we discuss. But I think Viggo Mortensen does a really good job. He's that charming, handsome, cowboy who's flirting with the female protagonist, who we will discuss here in a second. But she's kind of smitten with him, and she's kind of on the rocks with her boyfriend. So here comes this like nice, handsome guy, and he seemingly gets killed off by that fucking gas station attendant who is I cannot understand a damn thing he says. Not a damn thing. He is completely off. But yeah, so you think he gets killed by him, and then later on you see that he is part of the Sawyer family. And I think he does a good job there too, He kind of plays into that that idea that they originally gave to Leatherface about, just kind of, he's kind of playing more of a female role when he needs to in the family. He's wearing the apron, and he's the one doing the cooking. Like that typical, old school mentality of women doing the cooking and yada, yada, yada. So when he's cooking, he's wearing this apron, and he kind of almost acts a little more feminine in some ways. But overall, I think he does a good job in the movie. He's probably my favorite part character-wise. We get the other guy, I cannot remember his fucking name, but I think he does a good job too. And then we get the daughter, who is Leatherface's daughter, which alludes to some pretty disturbing stuff that I don't... they go there, they don't go there in the movie, but they definitely allude to Leatherface being pretty problematic, which... I don't think the Sawyers give a shit, but yeah, he's a little more of a creep in this movie, which then obviously the little girl comes as a result of that. But I thought she did well, good child performance. Nothing I would write home about, but it's pretty stereotypical. Like she's carrying around the creepy doll, and just it's nothing really to write home about. But with what she's given, I think she does a good job. And yeah, and then we get Grandpa, who is just a straight up corpse in this movie, which I'm glad they finally committed to just straight up saying, yep, he's dead. He's actually dead now. He's just a corpse that is sitting there, which they do kind of uphold that from the other movies as far as, when you die in the Sawyer family, they're just going to keep you. They showed it with the grandma in the first two movies, and with the hitchhiker in the second movie, him being strapped to Leatherface and Chop Top carrying him around and stuff. Which, that's one thing. I'll get on a little side tangent. It's like, man, I really wish they could have brought back Bill Moseley, honestly. Like, if you're going to fucking bring back Leatherface, just fuck it. Bring back Bill Moseley. Have Chop Top in this movie. I mean, shit, he could have easily played the one fucking guy who's just another Sawyer, I think he does a great job. I'm not dogging his performance or anything like that. But, I mean, I don't know. I thought it would have been something cool for the fans, but something tells me they didn't really give a shit about the fans when making this, so it's pretty evident throughout the movie. But yeah, kind of wish he would have come back. Overall, Sawyers are fine. Good villains. Again, just, there's one thing that I kind of thought of, and after this little side tangent, we'll get into the protagonists. This movie felt very made for TV. It felt extremely made for TV. There's just something about it. We'll get into the complete not complete, but pretty heavy lack of violence that this movie has. A result of MPAA censorship, unfortunately. But anyways, that's, I think, a big hindrance to this movie. It just feels like it's made for cable. It's just, I don't know, like, it just did not stack up as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie to me. Like, for God's sake, at least be entertaining. The second one gets that right in spades. Is it a dumb movie? Fuck yeah, but at least it's fucking entertaining. Moving on, the protagonists. We get our young couple driving cross country, and they make their way through Texas. They start to hear about all these dead bodies popping up in Texas. I wonder who's responsible for that. And eventually they encounter Leatherface, and they encounter Ken Foray. Now, as far as the two, like, the young couple, very forgettable. Nothing. I mean, there's a little bit of relationship drama. Nothing really gets played up. They're just there. They're just there. I think they do a passable job, performance-wise. I wouldn't... Yeah. You're going to hear that a lot, unfortunately, with this review. It's like, yeah, it's there, whatever. But I will say, loved having Ken Foray in this movie. It was, I think his name's Benny. I want to say the character's name is Benny. I thought he was fucking awesome. But the most hilarious thing about Benny is this motherfucker is indestructible. They have a superhero in this fucking movie. Now, not literally, even though with how crazy this franchise goes, it would not surprise me. Especially when we get into the next one. I am really looking forward to that. But, yeah, man. He's just, okay. So he gets run over by a car or a truck. Gets run over by a truck. You can kind of see the wheels don't really hit him. Okay, pass that off. It's fine. Gets up, lights Viggo Mortensen on fire, Tex on fire, and then goes and has his battle with Leatherface in this, like, swamp lake thing. Gets a chainsaw to the fucking head. Like Leatherface, the chainsaw falls into the lake and it's still running, and it does this weird, like, thing where the saw kind of comes up out of the water, which I always take as an homage to the amazing trailer for this movie, which I enjoy way more than the actual movie itself. And I will say, I really wish we could have gotten just a feature-length version of that trailer for this movie. Like, have some weird goth chick throw a chainsaw, completely silver chainsaw, out of the lake. Have Leatherface catch it. Fucking lightning bolt hits it like it's Excalibur. Just come on, man. Give me that. Let's take the tone from 2. Let's run with it. Fuck it. Who cares? But no, instead we got this. So the chainsaw blade kind of does this weird rotation up out of the water, which if someone is knowledgeable about this stuff, please let me know in the comments. Is that a thing? Is that an actual thing? Or is that just for plot convenience? I really have a feeling it's just for plot convenience. But no, and Leatherface takes Ken Foray's head and he literally runs it into the chainsaw. You don't see anything happen because of course you don't, because this is a bloodless fucking movie. That'll be my final part of this rant. But yeah, but it's pretty clear he gets a chainsaw blade to his fucking head. And not only that, he's submerged in water for fucking, I don't even know how long. Come on, man. Like, come the fuck on. Gets up out of the water. Of course he does. After Kate Hodges' character kills Leatherface. And they're about to get in the truck together and drive off. Happy ending. The gas station attendant comes by. And you can see via his makeup that he's definitely taken a chainsaw to the head. Like, he has some scarring going on. I'm like, okay, I guess Leatherface grazed him with the fucking chain. Whatever. Fuck it, he's back. This guy comes up, the gas station attendant, it's pretty clear that he is a Sawyer, who he thought was killed by Benny earlier on, but he's back because just no one can die in this movie. And he fucking smashes Benny's face in, or the back of his head in, with a fucking hammer. And then, Kate Hodges' character kills him, and then Benny's just gets back up, and then they ride off into the sunset. And then Leatherface comes back, because, again, no one can die in this fucking movie. So you get that little ending shot of him with his leg brace and the chainsaw, and then the movie just ends. And you're like, oh. Benny is fucking indestructible. Getting run over by a truck. Fuck you. Chainsaw to the head. Fuck you. Hammer to the head. Fuck you. The guy doesn't die. Definitely takes that from part 2 with LG not being able to die after taking 25 hammer shots to the fucking head. Yeah, man, I guess everyone's just fucking just indestructible. Forgot to mention this. We do get a cameo from Caroline Williams, which I enjoyed seeing. She's a news reporter, which I know that they kind of referenced in the second one. That's what she wanted to do. So I guess that's kind of a nod to fans, because there's no way they were thinking that, oh yeah, this is a stretch. And if they did, then they just really didn't give a fuck at all, did they? Which, again, wouldn't surprise me. But moving on to my last little part of this movie, because like I said, I really don't have a lot to say with this one, guys. With all the stuff I've just said, not really a remarkable film, really nothing to write home about. This movie could have benefited so much from being bloody and gory as fuck. And the potential was there. Greg Nicotero did the makeup effects for this movie. So they were at least trying to get a little something in here. But the fucking MPAA, man, just made a movie that was already not that great. Fucking worse. It's because not only do we have to sit through a movie that's pretty unremarkable, there is next to no blood in this movie. It has its moments for sure. And I do have a kill of the film for this. It's just by default, really, though. I'll just go ahead and say it. Leatherface ends up maiming the boyfriend with a chainsaw out in the woods. They capture Kate Hodges' character. Ken Foray would later come and rescue her, but, this guy is still alive somehow, even though we literally heard, because we didn't see it obviously, but we heard Leatherface run into this man with a chainsaw. Like you can hear like the gooey sound effects and shit. And yeah, he fucking kills this dude, but he doesn't. He's alive a little bit, barely. I'll give him that. But if you're run through with a chainsaw, it's over. You're done. But they drag him up to the house and they stick these meat hooks. That's what I was trying to say. They stick these meat hooks in his ankles, which of course you see they're about to go in, and then boop, cut away. Can't show that. Can't show shit in this movie with blood. And then, yeah, man, I will say it is pretty fucking disturbing, because they do, like, the sight of him just kind of, like, hanging there is pretty eerie. As far as scariness in this movie, it's probably the most horrific thing in the whole film. But yeah, he's just kind of dangling there, and then they have this mechanism that a sledgehammer will, if you push a lever, this mechanism will come in and just, bash their fucking head in. Because it's like a Luke Goldberg fucking booby trap thing. You just hit it, and then the hammer comes down and smashes his fucking head open. So yeah, and the little girl's like, oh, I want to do it. And they're like, oh, well, go ahead, and she does it, and right when the fucking hammer's about to smash his head, goes, zip, cut. Fuck you, dude. Seriously? Nothing? You can't give me anything at all? So yeah, pretty disappointing kill, but by default it is my kill of the film. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it. I know we kind of finagled the kill of the film section in there. It wasn't really a prominent part of the video, but kills are not a prominent part of the movie, so it is what it is. Yeah, guys, pretty unremarkable, blah, made-for-TV feeling Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. I am looking forward to discussing The Next Generation, which we will be getting into soon. But before we do that, next week on Days of Darkness, we are going to be getting into a movie that I have been waiting to do from the moment I started this channel. And since we have recently gotten a sequel to this movie, I figured it would be a really good time to review Terrifier, which I am fucking thrilled to be talking about on this channel, because that is the absolute opposite of this fucking movie in regards to blood and guts. Holy shit. Really, really excited to get into that. And yeah, guys, thank you as always for stopping by and just supporting the dream, supporting the channel. I know I say that pretty much at the end of every review now, but, and I don't ever want it to, I don't want it to ever lose that meaning. So I know I say it every time, and I will continue to say it every time because I genuinely mean it. But yeah, guys, thank you as always for stopping by. Please keep watching horror and take care of each other and take care of yourselves. And yeah, without further ado, have a good rest of your motherfucking day.